Lars Wittig followed his heart and decided to stay in the Philippines, not just for business, but also to make an impact and share his knowledge to the Filipinos. Lars, we've been so inspired with all your story all the time. So with that, can you please share us your childhood memories?
Most of all, I was raised on a farm. It was a very hands-on type of an upbringing. I didn't have to work at the farm, but it was an option. I also got the opportunity to make my own investments on the farm, so I owned different animals, and so one of my very fun memories is when I was selling some of the many animals I had the first time and realized how much profit could be made. So basically I became a merchant, so to speak, buying and selling at a very young age.
So what was the biggest challenges during your childhood?
My biggest challenge was basically just that I lived so far away from the school that so regardless whether it was snow or rain, it was quite I left home at 7 o'clock in the morning, and before that I had to feed my animals, and then I came home 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then again I also had to feed my animals and clean out in the stables and so on before I could do any homework.
Do you believe in education those times?
Yes, absolutely. But it was also very much like what I liked, to be honest. But I was very much into philosophy and psychology and various different writers. So that was really where I was standing out at school. But when I came home, it was really the wheeling dealing, being a trader.
So what was your dream job during those times?
My dream job was to work for the biggest company in Scandinavia at that time, called East Asiatic Company. So when I was 12 years old, I got on a train and I drove over to the head office in Copenhagen. And I went up, and when they realized I was down there behind the counter, because I was not quite tall enough yet, then I managed to deliver a letter that I wanted to work for them when I grew up. When I finally had graduated a certain level of business school, then they didn't accept any trainees that year. So I started at the university, and after 2 semesters I did a thesis on Danish export to ASEAN. And that one was published in a newspaper, and then immediately they called me and hired me. So I must admit, dropped out of university after 2 months.
So who really inspired you during your childhood? It seems that you were just a getter.
Yeah, well, I was encouraged by my parents to sort of do the right things, but it was always an option for me. And it was not a secret that, as any other parents, they would like to see their children to become successful and doctors and attorneys and this and that, they were honest enough to say that, but they also said, what really matters is that whatever you decide for, that you dedicate yourself to it.
So what made you decide to move in Asia?
Since that was what my thesis was about, and East Asiatic Company was really doing their business in Asia primarily, that I was well on my way. So in September 1992, I finally arrived here in Manila, where I, for the same company, East Asiatic, was to work on setting up an all-new distribution system for Philip Morris cigarettes. Then about 6 years ago, I decided that maybe I was old enough to decide myself where to live. So I followed my heart and I came back to the Philippines. And then I basically solidified my permanent living base here by becoming country manager of Regis.
Do you consider yourself successful?
To be honest, no. But
why?
Because everything is always a compromise, and I hate compromises.
So what's success to you?
My team, actually I do measure success on my team, because and that is a good success factor to go by. If you can make your team shine, so will you.
What's your best advice for foreigners in Philippines?
Forget about the negative. I can't use it for anything. But I hear foreigners talk too much about negativity. But if you take the most unique, best things, you get a very unique cocktail. If you impress that upon your local team, then you also get a world-class team in the Philippines. And actually, my dream team here, which is my existing team, by the way, with Regis, we are basically the leaders within Asia Pacific and to a high degree worldwide. The company is in 120 countries. Many countries are being benchmarked against our performance here in the Philippines. And that was not the case 4 years ago. And how often is it actually that the Philippines is number one? So of course, my team is super proud, not least me. I'm extremely proud. So now we are back to my answer earlier, make your team shine, and so will you.
What do you think the security in the Philippines?
Well, security in the Philippines now is better than ever, at least in my time here, which is longer than the age of the average Filipino. I mean, I know the embassies are returning, many of them are staying with the Regis. I see ambassadors without bodyguards. I noticed that the Swiss ambassador, he got a little bit tired of the traffic, so he was driving on a motorbike.
So what traits Filipinos need to improve?
Here in the Philippines, there's so much talent, and it's just a matter about helping people to give them the opportunity and the motivation to actually convert that into something really tangible that is good for them, good for the team, which is good for the business.
So where do you see Philippines? You think what's the chance for us Philippines to be first world?
Well, the opportunities are very obvious to all of us, I think, and our biggest challenge really is more ourselves, because we have so many times managed to sort of like slow things down for ourselves, have foreign investors lose faith in the Philippines. I'm not now talking historically. So if all of that is done the right way, without deterring foreign investors, then I think we are looking at easily 8% growth rates, not least.
So if there's a legacy that you want to leave behind, what is it?
I don't know. It has to be something with humor, or something that it was fun to work with him, or it was fun to be with him, or it was fun that he was part of my life, or it was fun to have him as my mentor. It would be something like that.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Lars.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah, okay. Every success has its struggles. Every dream has its trials and tests. Listen to their stories, because if they did it, you can also be called self-made.